Hey everybody, Zoltan here. This is part 5 of this series. We are going over a lot of great strategies to build the ultimate team in Madden Connected Franchise. We're using Madden 16 right now, and remember, this is after all the updates, so there's no longer any trade glitches. You actually have to use real strategies to build the ultimate team. We're using the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've already made a lot of changes to this team and done it in a legitimate way. We're working within the confines of the real game. So we got a few more trades here to make to build this ultimate team. We still need a good slot wide receiver, and we need a left tackle. But we've already improved this team a lot, as you can see. But let's go over here and see what else we can find in the trade center. I need to find a team that has 3 good wide receivers, because that's the only thing that I can do to be able to get any team that's willing to trade. Believe me, if you go in and try to trade for a starting wide receiver, it doesn't matter what you try to give up, but if they don't have a reason to trade it, they won't do it. So they have to, a lot of times they need depth at that position. And I know the Cardinals are actually a team that has 3 good wide receivers. Now if I try to trade for Michael Floyd, it really doesn't matter. I could try to give up, I don't have much left here to trade, but if I tried to trade this for Michael Floyd, I've got a 4th round pick that I could get rid of. They're not going to do it. They're unwilling to do it. He's their starting number 2 wide receiver. But remember, I'm looking for a slot wide receiver, somebody who's really fast, quick, good route runner. And John Brown, in my opinion, he's young. He's 25 years old. But he's probably, in my opinion, one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. Or in this game anyway. In the NFL, I think he's used as a flanker. But in Madden, he is just perfect for the slot because he can run underneath the coverage, and he's really fast. So he can run after the ball. He's just an excellent player to have in the slot. But see, I think a 4th round pick might be a little bit too much. So let's see if maybe I can get something else for them. Maybe they can give me something back. Maybe I can get a 5th round pick. That's kind of interesting if they do this, because they're not giving up much at all. And the only reason they're doing any trade at all is because they've got 3 wide receivers at this spot. It says they're unwilling to do it. But I have a feeling that if I ask for something a little less, maybe I can get a 6th round pick. Maybe they'll do that. I doubt it, but we'll see. No? Let's see if I can get something else here. Maybe a 7th round pick. I'd like to get at least something back. No, still not willing to do it. Take that pick out of there, and let's see if they'll just do it just straight up. Trade was accepted. Surprise, surprise. And the only way you know this, because when you get that rejection message, you think there's no chance. And I've done this before. I've had him on my team before. I know the Cardinals are willing to do it. And they're one of the only teams that's willing to trade a wide receiver because they happen to have 3 wide receivers. Now look, now everything is a little different now. I've got a really good core of receivers. I've got the 2 Allen brothers, and I've got a good slot receiver here. They're all 85 or above. The only thing I got left to do now is my left tackle situation, but I don't have very many picks left to be able to play around with. So before I do that, I'm going to save the game because I don't want to lose this. Let's go down here just in case I make any mistakes. Can reload it. But we've already made some really great additions to the team. I think you'll admit that these are some pretty good strategies. And don't forget to like this video as well as the other ones, and subscribe to the channel. But let's see what we can do about left tackle. Before I do that, I want to make a trade of some draft picks. Let's see what I can do here. The 49ers are an interesting team to trade with, because for some reason the game seems to think that the 49ers draft pick is actually the 30th pick overall. That doesn't make sense. I don't know why that's the case. But I want that pick. And the reason why is because I believe at the end of this season, the 49ers are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And that pick is probably going to be a top 5 pick. And the reason I want that is not because I want to pick a top 5 player, but you can trade down. And I'm going to show you that in other videos, how when you're in the draft, if you have a top 5 pick, you can trade down, and other teams are actually willing to give up quite a lot. And you can start to flesh out the remainder of your picks and start compiling a pretty good amount of first, second, third round picks because of the fact that you're at the top of the draft. Because I'm not going to be at the top of the draft. If I play with this team, I'm not going to be pick 4. You know, I'm going to be much higher than that. I'm going to be like pick 30 because I plan on going to the playoffs at least with this team. So I'm going to give up my second round pick and third round pick and see if they're willing to trade my second and third for their number 1. Let's see if they do this. Let's see, maybe they'll do it. They're interested, but they need a little more value. So let me try to add something else here. I can go down, add a 7th round pick, and see if I can get them to do that, because I don't have much left. I've already traded my entire 2017 draft picks. I'm hoping they'll do this because I need that first round pick. All right, good. All right, so I just traded a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th for their number 1 overall pick. The reason why that's going to be good is later on, I'm sure that that's going to be a top 5 pick, and I'll be able to trade that and be able to add picks from my 2017 draft that I currently have no picks right now, and I'll be able to add to that draft by trading down in the 2016 draft. So that's a good pick to have. All right, so now I know that I've got some security there. I still need a left tackle. How am I going to get a left tackle? If you go out there and try to trade for a left tackle, it doesn't matter what you give up. I'll give you an example. You know, one of my favorite left tackles here plays for the Cowboys. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I do think that the Cowboys have a great offensive line. I would love to have Tyrone Smith. He's only 24 years old, and he's a 99 overall. I could trade all my picks, and I don't think that they would do this. I could give them, heck, I could probably give them 2 number 1 picks and a number 4, and they're not going to do it. Look at this. No, totally unwilling to do it. So you cannot get a stud player unless you know what you're looking for. You have to know, and here's how you do it. You go in here, here's another little trick. You go into the trade center and look at the trade block. Of course, there's not much here. You can go to left tackle and look at what's out there. 72. That's not going to be good enough for a starter. Give me a break. But, you know, here's the interesting thing. We've got 2 players from the Texans on this trade block. We've got Chris Clark and we have Jeff Adams. They're both from the Houston Texans. That tells me that this team, for some reason, has an excess too many left tackles, and maybe they might be willing to trade their starting left tackle. Seems like wishful thinking. But yeah, let's get out of here. I don't know why it was there. Right? Manual trade. And let's just check out. Who knows? Maybe they'll do it. Let's see what we got here. Left tackle is Dwayne Brown. I know he's pretty good. He's 30 years old, but still, you know, I could use him for a couple of years. because he's a 90 overall. Dwayne Brown's a pretty good player, actually. He's a good left tackle. But who knows? It doesn't make sense that they would trade him. But let's see what we can do. Maybe they'll. I'd even give up a number one pick. I'll give up my number one pick here. Let's see if they do it. And they're totally unwilling. All right, now normally when you see that message, you're just going to give up. But I don't know, I have a feeling that because I saw those two players on the trade block, that there may be some wiggle room here. What if I add a 5th round pick? Maybe I can get them to do this. Maybe they'll do it here. No, totally unwilling to do it. That's funny. I guess I was wrong. Let's try to add this 6th round pick and just see what happens. So we got a 1, a 5, and a 6 for a 90 overall left tackle. Bam. Look at that. Oh my God. They did, all I had to do was add a 6th round pick. See, that's the thing. You got to learn, don't give up. Just because you see that message, if you know they have depth at that position, a lot of people would just give up and they would think, oh, they're not willing to trade. But now look at my team. I just added a left tackle who is a stud, who's a 90 overall. He's got probably at least a couple years left before he starts to regress. I got an 87 at left guard. I've got a decent center. Linder's a great right guard. He's young. Jokel is a joke, in my opinion. He's an 82, but I got a good tight end. I've got 3 good wide receivers to go with my young core of Blake Bortles and TJ Yeldon. And my defense is pretty set right now. I've got 2 really good defensive tackles. I've got a couple of good defensive ends. I've got a good number 1 corner right now. Denard is maybe a little weak, but he's okay right now for a number 2. And the linebackers look pretty good. And Trey Boston's young. He can definitely develop. And Cyprian is also pretty decent as a strong safety. In the future videos, what I'm going to show you also is how to evaluate the draft, because what we really want to do coming up pretty soon here is we want to prepare to add some good young players as backups who can eventually become starters. And we're going to be looking for guys that have superstar development, and you can find them in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round of the draft. And I'm going to show you how to evaluate the draft in future videos coming up. So don't forget to like this channel, to like this video, and to subscribe to the channel, because we've got more things to show you with this team. But I think you would definitely admit that if you watched this team from the beginning, back on video number 1, that we have absolutely transformed probably the worst team in Madden to arguably one of the best in a pretty short period of time. And we didn't really even have to do anything that was outside of the parameters of the game. Everything we did made sense. And I think that you can definitely apply the same strategies to any team. So there's other guys out there that you can find if you really know how to look for them. And it makes the game really fun because there's a lot more stuff to learn, a lot of strategies. And keep watching a few more videos, because I'm going to go through this season a little bit with this team and actually see how this team develops. But I have a feeling that if I were to sim to the end of this season, this would definitely be a playoff team. But of course you would want to try to play with the team a little bit, see how they play. I want to upgrade my halfback at some point. But there's other things that you can do at the end of the season to really take advantage of the draft, as well as the next free agent class. I have a lot of great strategies of how to get some really great free agents for a pretty good price. So stay tuned to this channel and for future videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. This is Zoltan signing out with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and stay tuned for future videos to see how this team is able to progress. All right, thank you.